In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the Galayou G2 and why you shouldn't buy it. What's up guys, it's Josh from the WL Tech Blog. Got another camera here on the bench today and I'm going to show you exactly why you shouldn't buy it. Let's jump over to the bench. Alright, now it might seem a little strange that I'm telling you not to buy this camera. If you know anything about these brands, Galayou is the same brand, it's the same manufacturer as Wansview and Sonoff cameras, which I've done very positive videos on. And in fact, a lot of their models are actually exactly the same between them and our models that I do recommend. But this one, the Galayou G2, is not a camera I'm going to recommend. Not because it doesn't work just fine, but there's a couple major reasons why I don't think you should get this one. The first one, and probably the most straightforward one, is that this camera costs about double what you'll pay for a Sonoff D1 that's essentially the same components inside. It's got the same processor, same flash size, same image sensor, runs on USB-C, and is very easy to flash, very easy to work with, easy to unbrick. I've got one here. They're even approximately the same size. And look how easy this Thingino is. I've got a video on doing this if you want to see how to put Thingino on a Sonoff D1. Like boom, it's open. You can see what's inside. You can access everything. And you can install Thingino with just an SD card on this guy. They're usually somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks on Amazon all day long. But this guy is something else. And like I said, it's got exactly the same componentry inside, but it costs more and they made it a lot more difficult to actually get into. So what you've got here, this base here splits off from this part of the base, and you can just pull those apart. Then these two halves you have to start separating to pull the ball off of this piece. Let me go ahead and do that. It's a little tough to do. I'm not too worried about scuffing this one up. It's already been through the ringer getting it to this stage. They've got the bottom, there's our horizontal motor, and you can see there's a clip here. There's another one on the other side that's holding this guy in. And probably the easiest way is just to come through here with a screwdriver, start pulling this apart, and it'll pop out. Now we've got the circuit board. Let me pull this motor off real quick because it's in the way of what we're trying to look at. I know where all these wires go, so I can go ahead and unplug them. These screws, the first time you go to get them out, they're in really, really tight, almost like they use some sort of thread locker. I'm not aware of a thread locker that would work that well on plastic. But actually I've got the 3K or 5K or whatever they're calling it version as well. That's another do not buy. That one does not work with Thingino currently and may never actually. So here we've got the guts of the board. Let's zoom in a little farther. All right, there we go. So you can see we've got the processor over here. We've got the flash chip over here. Now the flash chip was actually covered in this rubber schmoo that they put on here. Just scrape it away in order to be able to use my clip on it. If you are planning on installing Thingino on one of these, you're going to need to do the same because this does not work with the SD card method. It also does not work with the flash glitch method. So the only way to do it is with a clip. And I'll be showing you how to do that today, although there is some clip setup that you'll need to do before you can do it yourself. We've got that covered in the wiki over at the Thingino GitHub repository. Now let me show you something else about this by pulling the board out of the housing. All right, and here we are on the sensor side. And let's see if we can get it in focus here. Here are the pins for the UART, transmit, receive, ground, and 3.3 volts. And normally what I would do is use one of these pogo pin clips, and we just bring it right up here, put it on the pins, and we're good to go. On this camera, however, we're going directly over the power connector, so that's going to make UART access quite a bit more difficult. You're going to need some gravity probes or to actually solder to these, which I really do not recommend doing because it's so easy to lift a pad, and that can actually ruin your board. So anyway, what we are able to do is use our flash programmer. Now here we've got the typical CH341A. I have done the 3.3 volt mod on this, and also on the clip I have cut pin 8, so we're not supplying power to the board. Now these are pretty nice in general. This one's really hard to see to get your alignment right, so it might take me a couple attempts to get on there just right. But let's pretend that I got it right the first time, and then we're going to jump over to our terminal. All right, so we're going to use Scriba to burn our image here. That is another tool that's written by the Thingino team, and you can find it in the repository along with the Thingino firmware. I'll leave a link to that down in the description. This works for CH341A flash programmers on Linux and does not attempt to work with everything else. So here we're going to use Scriba to write, and the capital W also verifies the image, and we've got the latest firmware for this device. And looks like I actually did get the clip on properly the first time. Now this only takes a minute or so, but we'll go ahead and speed up for the purposes of the video. All right, the write operation has completed, and we verified that the flash matches our image. So we are done with the terminal. Let's jump back over to the bench. Now, of course, I'm completely confident that we got this right. So we're going to go ahead and remove the programming clip and reassemble the camera. Make sure your SD card slot matches up with a hole, because this thing will go in either direction and you'll be sad. Once again, we're going to use our high Dollar General screwdriver kit, and you can see I've got a little helper magnet here that just helps hold the screws in place while I'm going to drop them in. It's awfully handy. Now again, if you're thinking about buying a camera to run on Thingino, I do not recommend buying this one. This video is ultimately for people who already own it. Alright, now we have the faceplate, and we have the tilt motor, and those use the screws with the flat sides. Now I definitely did unplug all this stuff awfully fast. The headers are mostly labeled. This motor goes to the vertical motor. Then we'll bring over the rest. We've got the speaker. And we've got the horizontal motor. And finally we have the power. And these have this handy, obvious spot here where they go together. This smushes down into here. And this guy, you actually have to pay attention to the orientation of the motor. And there we have it. We're back together. Let's go ahead and power it up. USB-C, power. And I'll just give it a minute to come up. Should start moving in a second. There we go. And as usual, for a Thingino device, powered up and look for the Thingino network. Once this comes up, most phones will automatically bring you directly to the provisioning portal. Mine does not, and I have to go to the IP address 172.16.0.1. And you'll be greeted with an interface like this. And we're going to punch in our root password and our Wi-Fi credentials. Remember, they are case sensitive, and it needs to be a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network that you're giving it credentials for. Once you hit confirm, the next page will let you validate your entries before you proceed, which we're doing now. And then the device will reboot. All right, now we're going to tap the button and get our IP address.
IP address is 192.168.82.101.
And then we'll pull it up on our phone. And you see we got our login page. And here we are booting, connecting into the device. Looks like we need to flip the image with the flip button. But here we are. Hi. What's up, everybody? All right, and now I've got a shiny new Thingino running device. Now, once again, this one I've seen on sale for as low as like 16 or 17 bucks. This one has the same internals, is easier to flash, easier to repair if you somehow brick it. It's easier to take apart, and it is better in my opinion. And it'll cost you somewhere between $10 and $15. So don't buy this one, buy this one. All right, well, I know it's a little weird. I've never done a don't buy this camera video before, but this is my first one, and I've got a bunch of other cameras I would tell you not to buy. I've just been trying to focus on ones that you should buy. Anyway, maybe we'll do some more of those in the future. This is definitely not on my recommended list. Buy the Sonoff instead. I've got the link for that down in the video description. And if you're looking for something that's a nicer camera, I've got some more links down there for more high-end devices as well. Anyways, if you do have this one and your install did not go as easy as mine did, come join us over on the Hackers Homestead Discord, and we can give you some help and figure out what went wrong. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, make sure and leave them down below. I'd appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up and do consider subscribing to the channel. If you're interested in the project, the link to our Discord and our GitHub is down in the description as well. And we will see you coming up soon in the next video. Until then, stay fresh, cheese bags.